I want to tell you a little bit about Bill de Blasio. He's the only Democrat with the guts to really break from the Bloomberg years. The only one who will raise taxes on the rich to fund early childhood and after-school programs.
Welcome back to Opinion Journal. I'm Mary Kissel. That was an ad for the dark horse Democratic candidate Bill de Blasio. And it was taking a surprising turn here in the campaign. New York Post editorial writer Robert George is here to talk about it. Robert.
One more fun time into New York City politics.
Bill de Blasio vaulting to the top of the polls. We're going to put the numbers up now.
Right.
6 points ahead of Christine Quinn. What's he doing right?
Well, first of all, what you saw there was, I think, is hands down the best ad of the season in the mayor's race. Now, Bill de Blasio happens to be the furthest left candidate. He's the one who's talking about raising taxes on the rich. He's out there, far out there on the issues of stop and frisk and so forth. I mean, he is the real lefty. But that was a great ad. I mean, that was his son there. His de Blasio's wife is black, and he's rocking that great afro there.
He looks great.
And he says, you know, my dad is going to be the person who's going to be the biggest split from the Bloomberg era. And he says, you know, and he ends it with, you know, I believe all this, you know, even if he wasn't my dad. Great charismatic kid there. But it looks like the collapse of Anthony Weiner has caused people to start looking around for the next bright light, if you will. And de Blasio, who's this tall figure, is like 6'6" or so, and he's furthest left. He's basically one of the founders of the Working Families Party, which is heavily tied in with the unions.
But Robert, I don't understand, because Anthony Weiner came into the race to run up the middle of the Democratic Party, and he vaulted to the top of the polls. Now that he's declining, why would those votes go to de Blasio and not to somebody like Christine Quinn, who is, by the way, Mayor Bloomberg's pick?
Well, one of the reasons why it doesn't seem to be going to Chris Quinn is that she does appear to be Michael Bloomberg's pick. And one of the issues that has come to the fore has been something that people have thought about was going to happen for a while, the issue of term limits and the fact that Chris Quinn, as Speaker, allied with Michael Bloomberg to overturn term limits, which had been passed by two city referendums, and that is something that Bill de Blasio and the other candidates have been zooming in on. And so anybody who has any issues with Michael Bloomberg seem to be taking it out on Chris Quinn.
Well, there are a lot of people with a lot of issues with Mike Bloomberg. We won't get into them here.
But he's been good on some of the big things, particularly like stop and frisk. And he hasn't been perfect on budgetary issues, but he's certainly better than any one of the people who'd be following him.
So we've got about a minute left. Is this turning into then, ultimately, if de Blasio continues, a kind of Dinkins-like candidate on the left and the Giuliani candidate of Joe Lhota on the right? Is that the fight that we're going to see here?
That is possible, though Joe Lhota, of course, realized that there's ups and downs of being associated with Rudy Giuliani. So he says, I'm not going to be Rudy Giuliani's third term. I'm going to be Joe Lhota's. But you know, again, this race has been changing week to week, and there could be there'll be several more spins before we get to the September 10 primary.
And Anthony Weiner, he's still in it. New York Post editorial writer Robert George.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks.